Finally, the apartment tour that so many of you have been asking for. I have not completely finished buying things for the apartment or decorating, so it's very empty, but it may be many more months before that happens, so I thought I'd go ahead and give you a tour, even though it's not ready. So as you can see, there is a large entry hallway. This is pretty typical of a Greek apartment, and all the ones that I've seen, there's some sort of entryway, and it's usually sort of this big but small size. Yes, there is an oven sitting on the floor here because from my old apartment, I still haven't sold it yet. I think what I'm going to end up doing is probably put a piece of furniture here, something small, so that I can have a place to put my handbag and my keys when I come in the door, and eventually put some, I don't know, art on the walls. Then you can come in and you can either go straight ahead or go right, which takes you to the bedroom, the kitchen, and the bathroom. But first we're gonna go into the living room / office. Someone commented in my March video that they could still hear that it was super echoey, and that's because there's still not a lot in here. It's better because I have this rug on the ground, on the floor, but I don't have anything on the walls, so it's still very echoey. And you may recognize that most of my things are from IKEA, because when you're in a hurry to get your place set up so you can actually live in it, you just go to the easiest place that you know. Sofa, obviously. I have not found a coffee table that I like yet. This was originally going to be an end table in my bedroom, like for the bedside tables, and I have a second one in there. I don't like it for that, but for right now, it's serving as my coffee table. Over here is my office / desk, whatever you want to call it. This was one of the main reasons I picked this apartment, because I could put my desk in front of this window and then look out all day. The second reason is the light. As you can see, it's very sunny in here, and it's not even noon yet. And it's still kind of an overcast day. It's not even like completely sunny, full on sunny. I don't think you can see it in the video. Maybe you can. There is a bug screen that I can pull up and down outside the window, which I love because that means when it gets a little bit warmer, I can open the window and not have bugs flying in. And you're seeing it more and more in Greek apartments, but I looked at many that did not have this. And a lot of our apartments, there are actually just 2 doorways to the balcony rather than an actual window, so there would have been no place for me to put a desk up against a window. Now, it does mean that my balcony is a little bit smaller, but I spend like 90% of the time that I'm home here at this desk. As you can see, I still have 2 boxes over there. Those are things I need to like store away, and I don't have a place for that yet. I have bought curtain rods, but I haven't gotten them up yet. And I haven't bought curtains yet, so I'll get there. Fortunately, like most Greek apartments, the windows, both here and in the bedroom, have the shutters that roll down. So I close those at night for privacy, not a big deal. So a lot of people have been asking me about furnished versus unfurnished. So I wanted to point out the lights to you. Now, I looked at some unfurnished apartments. There was no light fixture there at all, similar to what you're seeing over here. And you were expected to hire someone to come in and put in lights. And anything that was like that, that had no lighting, I was just like, no, I'm not dealing with that. Now, fortunately, I've gotten very lucky, and I have a very nice landlord who has said that once I figure out what I want over here, he will come and put them in. A lot of people have been asking me about how much bills are, how much rent is, and like a lot of the world, all of that is changing because prices have gone up. I will tell you that I'm paying 460 euros a month, which in Kukaki is a really great deal right now. Rents in Athens have gone up, and that's part of the reason it took me so long to find an apartment, because rents have just kind of gone nuts. Like, it's not like, oh, a 50 euro increase. It's been like several hundred euros in some places. Like, I've seen apartments in Kypseli, which is a neighborhood that's sort of not north, but a little bit further away from the center, like 500, 600 euros, where normally they would be like 350. So I don't know if this is just the new normal, or if It's just a weird blip. So that's sort of how much rent is. I haven't gotten too many bills yet because I haven't been here long enough. But when I do, I'm gonna make a whole video on the cost of living. I did get a water bill. Now, I've only been here for like a month, so some of the water bill is not mine, but it came from the end of November to like the end of February, and it was 10 euros. 10 euros. So water is the only thing that's cheap in terms of utilities here in Greece. Another thing that people wanted to see was what it looked like empty. And I didn't show that in my video earlier. So at the end of this video, I will put up some pictures that I took that when I moved in of the apartment empty. So that way you kind of get an expectation of what unfurnished in Athens really means. Obviously, this is the bedroom. Again, not a lot of furniture. I had nothing. I had no bed. I had no mattress. So everything is new. I'm still trying to figure out what I want to do in here in terms of bedding. So I just got a blanket and a duvet, so that way, like, I didn't freeze in the winter time. It did have an air conditioner in here, slash heater, but it did not have one in the living room. I was willing to make that sacrifice and pay for it myself to be installed because I did not have to go through a real estate agent here. So I saved myself I guess it's like the commission for the real estate agent. Here are my closets, which is so nice because if you remember in my old apartment, I had this really weird open closet that you looked into the shower with a glassed window. If you are a newer subscriber, you may not have seen that video, so I will put a link to that, just that one down in the description box below, because it was a little bit weird. Super luxurious apartment, but a little bit funky. I would say that these closets are pretty typical from what I've seen in my friends' apartments. They're all built in. Usually there's like closet space and there's storage up there that I'm not gonna open because I'd have to get the ladder out for that. But all my suitcases are up there. And then there's another one here that has some drawers in it. And it's a little bit messy because it needs more like shelving or something so that it can be more organized. So we'll get there. And since I no longer live in the basement, I have a balcony. It's quite nice. I am on an upper floor in my building, so it's kind of nice. I don't hear a lot of the traffic. I do hear the bus sometimes go by, if it's like an older bus, and sometimes if people are honking or yelling, I hear that. But for the most part, as you can hear, it's pretty quiet in here. So right outside my bedroom is my kitchen, which I will tell you is slightly annoying because I can hear the refrigerator sometimes. So sometimes I have to come in here, close this door and close this door. I'm sure at some point I will probably get used to hearing it and it won't bother me anymore. Like all Greek apartments that I have been in, you have a switch for the hot water heater, and this is the SATA, and that tells you it's the hot water heater. And in this kitchen, and in a lot of kitchens, even in the Airbnb that I stayed in, you have to turn on the oven because the oven is hardwired into the apartment, and most people don't leave it on because of electricity costs. And since it's gotten so bad, I am also doing the same. I do have a phone to let people in if they're coming for delivery. This is a much nicer one than in my old apartment. My old building had this really ancient one that stopped working half the time that I lived there. In this apartment, the water heater is up in the storage closet up there. I think it's the only thing that's up there right now. This one is much better than in my old apartment. My old apartment, it took about 45 minutes for it to heat up, and then sometimes it didn't last my entire shower. This one does, but I don't like that I can't see that it's hot, because in the old one I could see the gauge and I could say, okay, yes, it's ready, and then I could turn it off. So I don't like that. I've kind of guesstimated it takes about 20 minutes, 25 if it's cold outside, for it to really get hot enough and then to last my entire shower. The other good thing about it being here is that I walk by this all the time. So in my old apartment, I would always forget to turn off the hot water, and at least here, I can remember to turn it off. The other thing about the hot water. Now, some people will tell you to not leave it on, that it will run your electric bill really high. And then there are the people that say leave it on all the time because then you're just having to reheat like the water all the time. Because of the electricity cost, I'm not willing to test it out yet. So I'm trying to be diligent about turning it off when I'm ready to get into the shower. because I don't really want to find out in like 2 months that I have spent like 500 euros on heating water, because then I would cry. So as soon as I get an electric bill, I will share that with you guys somehow in a future video. This was my big compromise, was the kitchen. I really wanted an updated kitchen in Athens, but in order to do that, I would have had to pay a lot more money. Oh, the refrigerator has just come on, and now you can hear how loud it is. It's not terrible, but like when nothing else is happening and it's super quiet because it's 10 or 11 o'clock at night, it's noticeable. So again, in most unfurnished apartments, you get no refrigerator, no oven, no nothing. So all it had was the vent hood for the oven, and that was it. So I had to buy appliances. I've never owned appliances in my life before, so this is kind of wild to me. But it's sufficient, you know, like it's got decent counter space. And the oven I got has this cover, so I can kind of use it. I can't press hard on it because it's just metal, so it does bend. But like if I need to put something there, I can. My plan is to get a table or something over here, and then I will get some kind of shelving unit to put here. Because this is one of my biggest complaints about this apartment, is there are not very many electrical outlets. And in this kitchen, there are only two. There's this one that you can see, and then there's the one the refrigerator is plugged into. So this is why my tea kettle has this long extension cord coming off the counter, because I had to plug it in over there to get it to work. So if I get something here, I could put the tea kettle here and get a microwave and have some more storage for food here, because right now my food is in there, which is fine, except that if you guys have ever seen me stand next to another person, you know I'm not very tall. So if I need something up there, I kind of have to reach up high. And then over here, I can't really reach that top shelf. Like that's kind of a stretch for me. So I won't be putting too many things up there. But I can't decide if I like this yet or not. I think I would prefer to just have a shelf that you put plates and bowls on, because it's really hard to like get cups and stuff in here, and really there is no other place for me to put cups. And once I get wine glasses, I still haven't quite figured out where those are gonna go. What I'd really like to do is get something that I can mount here, but I don't know if my landlord's gonna really want me mounting anything to this piece of cabinetry, so we'll see. Last but not least is the bathroom. And you may be thinking, Tiffany, this bathroom looks kind of old, but this is actually kind of what I wanted, because most of the newer apartments in Athens, if they've redone the bathroom, they've ripped out the bathtub. And so it's just a shower stall. And that's fine, but occasionally I think to myself, wouldn't it be nice if I could take a nice hot bath? So now I have that option. Now, as you can see, the toilet is really old, but you know what? It works, and I haven't had it like run or do anything, so maybe older is better. The bathroom did have a bidet over here at one point. You can kind of see the imprint in the marble floor, the mosaic floor, sorry. So eventually I'm going to put a washing machine there. But again, we've run into the other issue, is that the bathroom has absolutely no electrical outlets. So that extension cord that's in my bedroom, where I've been running into here to blow dry my hair, eventually will run in here to run the washing machine. It's not the best system, but we'll go with it. I do think that at some point I may ask my landlord if I can pay to have an electrical outlet put here, because obviously there's electrical here. So we'll see. I'm not sure how much that will cost. So once the washing machine comes, then I will put some baskets and things for storage to put on top, because as you can see, there's not a lot of storage, and I'm kind of living out of another box in here. Ignore that. So one of the other things I'm not a super big fan of, which I can fix, I just haven't done it yet, is that the shower is, is one of these things where you just have to hold the shower head above you, which isn't the end of the world, but when it's cold and the bathroom is cold, then it's not great, because you're not standing under the hot water. Talk about was heating, because I have, along with the questions about bills has been questions about heating. And this was actually a big deal when I was looking for apartments because a lot of buildings aren't turning on the heat at all. And that's because people just don't have the money to pay for it, because most buildings here in Athens, it is what they call like central heating, meaning the whole building gets heating at once and you don't have a say of like when it comes on or the temperature or anything. If you're an owner, then you do get some input into that. But if you're a tenant, you don't. In my building, I have gas. It's still central. So gas is still cheaper than buying petrol at this point. It has gone up a lot. So in my building, they only turn on the heat when it's cold enough, from about 6 o'clock at night to 9 o'clock at night. You start hearing it come on at like 5:30, and then it takes about a half an hour for it to sort of reach you. And then by like 9:30, the heat has sort of stopped coming out of the radiators. There's a fee called kinokostra. I'm probably not saying that exactly correctly, but it's the shared building fees. So it's not just heating though, like it pays for someone to come and clean the building, usually like once or twice a week, to do any maintenance to like the elevator, or if something breaks, then they fix it. Now, what I learned when I moved in here, because I am paying the kinokostra in this apartment, is that there are some fees that, they don't happen every month, but there are some fees that only owners pay. So like things that are a little bit more structural that apply to like the whole building, that maybe they have to do whether you're living there or not, so only the owners pay for that. So my kinokostra for last month, which was February, was about 50 euros and change, and that was cleaning. There was some elevator maintenance that needed to be done and the heating for the month. So, and I think my part of the heating of that bill was around 36 euros. So I don't think it's terrible, but I know that's a lot higher than it used to be, from my understanding. One last thing that I want to mention before I show you the photos of the apartment empty is this front door. And you may be thinking to yourself, why am I looking at your front door, Tiffany? Because this is a new door, as you can see, and it's a security door. So it's like a vault. So when you turn the lock, all these bars come out from the top and all the way over here, not at the bottom, but all along this side and on the top, there are these bars that come out and go into like the surrounding wall. This is really important. If you're coming to Athens and you're gonna rent an apartment, you need to make sure that the apartment either has one of these doors or will be putting one in, because it is very easy to break into the old doors. They're very easy to either just push the frame down or to pick the lock. I stayed in an Airbnb once, the one that lost electricity did not have a security door, and the frame was just completely cracked here, and they had put like a piece of plywood over it and screwed it back in to make it a little bit more secure. But like literally anybody could have just broken in at any time. And that's it, that's my new apartment. I'm gonna put up some photos now, like I said, of what it looked like empty, and hopefully later in the year or next year, I'll come back and show you what it looks like when it has more furniture. Heck, even curtains would probably be better. If you have any questions about renting an apartment here or the actual apartment, ask me down in the comments below and I'll be sure to get back to you. And if you haven't already, I would really love it if you would subscribe so you can see more of my life in Greece. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next video.